Day 18, surviving isn't the goal anymore. How we rebuild ourselves in a system that profits from our burnout. Let's start with something uncomfortable but necessary. A lot of us didn't choose survival mode. We were shoved into it. And now we're being asked to romanticize resilience in a system that actively benefits from our exhaustion. That's the quiet scam, because survival was never supposed to be permanent. It was supposed to be temporary. But somewhere along the way, surviving became the baseline expectation and thriving became a luxury item. So today isn't about the economy and numbers, it's about the after effects, what prolonged economic pressure does to the human spirit, identity, and nervous system. Because even if the headlines change tomorrow, the damage doesn't magically disappear. Burnout isn't a personal issue, it's a structural one. Let's retire the word burnout the way it's usually used. Burnout implies you mismanaged your energy. Like you just didn't self-care hard enough. Like a candle and a bubble bath were going to fix systemic overload. No, what people are experiencing right now is chronic depletion. When your effort consistently exceeds your reward, your system starts shutting things down to protect itself. That's not weakness, that's biology. And yet we're told to push through, to hustle harder, to optimize ourselves like broken machines. Meanwhile, the system keeps extracting. The economy trained us to disconnect from ourselves. Here's a truth people don't like to say out loud. To survive this economy, many of us had to numb parts of ourselves. We ignored our bodies. We overrode our intuition. We stayed in situations that drained us. We tolerated instability as normal, not because we wanted to, but because the alternative felt worse. Over time, that creates a quiet identity fracture. You stop asking, what do I want? And start asking, what can I tolerate? That's not living, that's endurance. Why rest feels unsafe. Ever notice how resting makes you anxious? Not tired, anxious, that's conditioning. When rest threatens survival, your nervous system flags it as danger. So even when you finally slow down, your mind races, your chest tightens, you feel guilty for stopping. That's not laziness, that's learned hypervigilance. Your body adapted to instability by staying on all the time. And now we're being told to heal without ever addressing the conditions that broke us in the first place. Soft truth, you don't need fixing. You don't need to become more disciplined. You don't need to become more productive. You don't need to become less emotional. You need relief. And not just individual relief, collective relief, because healing in isolation while the pressure remains is just coping with better branding. Savage truth. The system doesn't care if you're well, just functional, as long as you show up, as long as you perform, as long as you keep consuming, as long as you don't disrupt. Wellness is optional. Functionality is mandatory. That's why so many people feel empty even when they're doing okay. The system doesn't reward wholeness, it rewards compliance. So what does rebuilding actually look like? Rebuilding isn't about escaping the system overnight. That's unrealistic and frankly elitist advice. Rebuilding starts smaller, but it's radical. It looks like redefining success beyond income, valuing rest as resistance, choosing community over competition, saying no to urgency that isn't real, letting go of timelines that were never humane. It's not glamorous, it's not Instagrammable, but it's real. Reclaiming choice in a world that limits it. When people feel powerless economically, they often try to regain control internally. That's why so many are turning inward, questioning beliefs, deconstructing norms, rewriting values. That's not escapism. That's recalibration. If the external world won't offer stability, people start building it internally and relationally. And that's not weakness, that's evolution. Community is the antidote. They never taught us hyper-independence was sold as strength, but it isolated us In reality, humans regulate through connection, shared resources, shared knowledge, shared care. That's why mutual aid, community spaces, and collective healing feel threatening to systems built on scarcity and competition. Because when people support each other, they need less control. You are allowed to want more than survival. Let this land. Wanting ease doesn't make you entitled. Wanting joy doesn't make you unrealistic. Wanting security doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And the fact that so many people feel guilty for wanting a life that doesn't constantly hurt, that should tell us everything. A quiet rebellion. Maybe the rebellion isn't loud. Maybe it's subtle. Choosing softness in a world that hardens people. Choosing honesty in a culture of denial. Choosing rest in a system addicted to output. Choosing meaning over metrics. That's not giving up. That's opting out of the lie that suffering is the price of worth. Closing, you were never meant to just endure your life. You were meant to inhabit it. And even inside systems that constrain us, there are ways to reclaim pieces of ourselves slowly, imperfectly, together. This isn't the end of the story. It's the moment people stop blaming themselves and start remembering who they were before survival became their whole personality. That's day 18.